We're live. There we go, everybody. We are on air and live. Two nerds. Ernie, if you will, give us the glorious intro of who we are. Ernie? Ernesto? Do we lose you?
We might
Go
have
live.
lost Ernie.
We lost
I
me.
see him.
Ernie,
Oh,
we're
no,
waiting.
there you are.
Ernie, we're waiting.
Yeah, we're waiting for your intro.
Man. Let's get the intro.
Dude, it froze
Yes.
on Robert. It was like really weird. I thought he was having a seizure.
I was. You missed it. Well, live is fun anyways. All right, fine, Ernie. I'll do it. Hi, two nerds and a joke. I'm Robert.
And I'm Ernie.
And he's Ernie. And we have a guest today on our live broadcast.
Yes.
And our guest is glorious, in fact.
Glorious. I don't know if I would say
Um,
glorious, but we can run with it.
All right.
Yeah, we might as well. A live broadcast, you might as well go with it being glorious. And Larry, your primary focus right now, of course, is Nyobi, and that you're the creator. You have a team with you on that. So will we say the creator, developer, mastermind behind Nyobi? Would that be an appropriate title for you?
Well, the Great Legend Show, he likes to call me the father of Nyobi. But what it actually is I'm the writer and creator of the book. Yeah.
Awesome. That is really cool. So we have a real comic book person with us today, Ernie. Isn't that exciting? I'm excited.
Where is he?
How about now? I'm here. I'm here. I'm watching you guys.
No,
no, not you. Him.
I'm looking for the real comic book guy. What?
Oh man.
I'm just kidding. It's actually an honor to
So
be
passionate
called.
for you. Yes.
It's an honor to be called a real comic book guy, but I got to tell you guys, when you're on the indie level, when you're on the ground level working up, you certainly don't feel that way. I mean, I'm just a guy in my house who makes a comic book, but then I'll talk to these other comic book creators who seem to be like celebrities and gods to me. You know, it's surreal. You know, and these people are like, in some cases my peers, and in some cases they're like my idols or heroes. You know, it's a very weird mix of group when you get into this world and you start intermingling with people that do what you do. You know, I know lots of people that are on the ground level like I am, and I know lots of people that work for, you know, the big two or the big three if you want to count Image Comics. Man, it's a crazy world.
Yeah, it is really crazy. So for you, then, I guess it's really a passion. It's something that you just wanted to do more than, oh, I'm going to go in this for the fortune and fame, of course, like so many have.
Well, there is no fortune and fame when you start when you start your own book, unless if you're extremely talented and you're extremely lucky, and you know the stars and the moon and the sun all align and you win that $1 million jackpot. What I do is I write the book. I hire an artist who is Steve Boyu, by the way, great Canadian French artist, and the cover artist is R.B. White, who's worked for Nickelodeon, Disney. He's done some covers for Zenscope, like Grimm Fairy Tales and that sort of thing. And so we were very lucky to recruit him to do our covers, and it's all funded through Kickstarter. So, yeah, I mean, what we do is on a very small level, but every time we produce an issue of Nyobi, it gets just a little bit bigger each and every time that we go at it. So, it's been tons of fun so far.
And it seems like it's a fairly real world based to some extent. It's kind of dark setting for your comic too. Is that something that you felt was the most appropriate for the character, or that just kind of you just wanted to do it dark?
Well, I mean, issue 1 was really dark. I don't know if you had a chance to look at issue 2 or 3 yet. Yeah, and with issue 2, actually, I sent that PDF off to a few people, and it turns out that some of the people that received the PDF only received the first 10 pages of it. That's actually like a 36-page comic book. So.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I don't know if you got to read the whole thing, right?
Then probably not. Yeah, I did. It wasn't a full 30-something pages. I will tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, if you read like 12 pages and then it cut off, then you read half a story.
I was wondering about that. I thought it was just a very major sudden cliffhanger, but you know.
No, that was just a corrupt PDF, and so thanks to Chris over at Comic Frontline, he actually told me about that because he was going to review the book as well. And I'm like, what do you mean there's only 12 pages? That's like a 36-page book. So I had to send him a brand new one. So I'm going to have to send you guys a new copy of Nyobi #2 because, yeah, you had no idea what happened. Now, did you get a chance to read #3?
I did not get a chance to read #3 just yet. That's I wanted to find out what was going, because that was being a question for you, was what was going on in #2. Because when I started #3, because I figured, okay, 10 pages, I started reading 3, and then it's like, wait a second, we're missing something here. So I was going to ask you if there was more, if I was missing something. So I'm glad you said that, because I want to finish 2 before I move on to 3.
Right, right. So, you know, a little background on Nyobi. Nyobi is a character that I created when I was 16 years old, and I'm like 42 now. So now I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with, say, tabletop RPGs, like things like Dungeons and Dragons and things of that nature. But
oh yeah,
are you guys familiar?
Yes.
Good.
Oh, very, yeah.
There was a game I used to play when I was 16 years old called Heroes Unlimited. It was by Palladium Games, okay? And it was like,
I play it now.
You play it now. Okay, great. So
yes.
You know what Heroes Unlimited is? That's how Nyobi came about, because Nyobi was my character in Heroes Unlimited, okay?
Ah,
so
very cool.
I used to draw pictures of Nyobi, you know, when I was 16 years old. Mind you, very horrible artwork and very horrible pictures. But yeah, she started off as a role-playing character, and so it wasn't hard to write about her in a comic book because I played her since I was 16. So I have all this history and all this lore and all these NPCs that I would have in the game that now I'm using as supporting characters for the comic book. The villain in issue 2, Avani, she's actually another character that I made in the superhero role-playing universe, right? So you know, very, very easy, and that's how it all started. But about 2014, we were all sitting around the gaming table, you know, me and my crew that I've been gaming with for like 20 years. And I said to him, I said, you know what? I said, here's the thing, guys. I said, we're sitting around the gaming table. You know, we're not playing adventure modules. These are all our original stories. Either I'm running the game or my buddy Andrew is running the game or whatnot. And I said, they're all original characters, all original concepts. And I said, man, if people could read about the games we were playing, they would absolutely love it, you know? And I'm like, why aren't we not writing stories and trying to make a comic book about this stuff? I'm like, you know, if you think about like guys like Stan Lee, you know, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, who made like Spider-Man and Captain America and, you know, the Fantastic Four and all these great heroes and all these great stories come out. I'm like, we have a plethora of heroes right here on the gaming table, but the only people that are ever going to know about it is the same 5 or 6 guys that play every week. And I said, I want to make a comic book. And you know what happened? I got laughed out of the room.
Really?
Yeah, legit. I got laughed out of the room. They never thought I could do it. And because I got laughed out of the room, because they thought no one's ever going to read a comic book about Nyobi, and you're never going to get it done. You know, you're living in a fantasy land. You're living in a dreamland. That's what was told to me by my own friends, mind you. Okay, by my own friends.
Dang.
And that really, really bothered me.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was enough to light a fire underneath my ass to go, I'll show you. I'll show you. One of my biggest influences in comic books is an artist, and I don't know if you're aware of him, but his name is Nick Bradshaw, and he used to do work for Wolverine and the X-Men, and he did work on Guardians of the Galaxy, and he did work on Spidey, which was like a kid's version of Spider-Man, right? And most recently, he's been doing like covers for Red Sonja on Volume 4. He's from where I'm from. He's from Moncton, New Brunswick, so we have easy access to, you know, professional artists in the industry. And so he would come to our comic shop, and he ran a couple of workshops on how to make comic books, right? You know, getting into comic books. So me and all these kind of, and I was very much into art at the time. I wasn't like so much thinking writing. I was thinking art, you know. But I would go to these like little seminars, and I would hang out with all these other local artists from Moncton, and I would show them my art, and they would like the concepts. But, you know, of course, the one thing that I kept getting feedback is you need to practice more. You need to work on it more, because, you know, I'm very good at drawing like a figure just kind of standing, you know what I mean? But I'm no good at drawing like sequential art, you know, panel by panel. I can't do that, you know. So, but I still wanted to make a comic book, so I figured I'm going to write the comic book, and I'm going to have one of these other people draw it for me. You know what I mean? I could draw well enough to show them what I want, and then they can take that
Right.
ball and run with it. So I wrote a script, and then we had a convention here in Moncton called the East Coast Comic Expo, and I went around to different artists and asked if anyone would be interested. And that's when I found David Coates, who did the interior art for Nyobi issue 1. And so David was on board because he wanted to break into the industry. He wanted to do a comic book. And then we found the guy to do the cover. His name was Andre Boulard, and he too wanted to break into the industry. He wanted to do like fantasy cards, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, like stuff that you would see on Magic the Gathering. But you know, he could do very good single images, right? You know, not so much sequential art, but he could do single images. So we went ahead and we put together this right here. And this is the,
sweet.
you know, inaugural Nyobi #1. This is like the printed copy, right? And so that picture that you see right there, that's Andre Boulard art. And then the interiors, of course, is David Coates, and I wrote the book. And so once we had the story written, and, you know, I probably written like 3 or 4 drafts, David went to work on the art. And, you know, not only did he do the pencils, he did the inking. And then when Andre got involved, he did this beautiful cover. I paid $100 for him to draw that cover, okay?
Wow.
That's what that cost. And then he put in this great, you know, color design, you know. I mean, one of the things that people say when they see this book is just how much the cover just pops up at them with all the purples, blacks, and pinks, you know. And so, and then Andre also did all the kind of gray tones and shading that you find inside the book. And so this is, you know, what happens when you have a dream when you're 16 years old and you're role-playing Heroes Unlimited and you want to see this come to life. You know what I mean? And I'll just, you know, crack open the book here a little bit so people can see the artwork of David Coates that's inside here, and all the hard work that went into this. This is a 48-page book. You know, this was no easy task. This took months and months and months to make.
Wow.
I'll show you this.
That's crazy.
Beautiful, you know, double splash page here with Nyobi in action, right? Coming to the aid of Lucas, who was underneath the influence of an evil spirit, thriving on negative energy. Lucas actually tried to commit suicide in this book, and of course,
yes, I saw that.
Nyobi saved him. And you know, we don't take anything like that very lightly, by the way. So in the back of the book, we do have numbers for the kids helpline and the suicide hotline, just to show that, you know, we took that subject matter fairly seriously. That's kind of what Nyobi #1 is about. It's more the story of Lucas and his journey and his fandom for Nyobi. I'll tell you this little story, guys. There's a couple of local artists that live near here. Their names are Brenda. I'm not home, by the way. Tell them I'm busy. Brenda Hickey and Troy Little. And they work for IDW. And Brenda Hickey does My Little Pony, okay? Friendship is Magic. For all you bronies out there. And Troy Little does Powerpuff Girls, okay? And they're a couple. They live in a province called PEI, which is a few hours drive from here. But every year they come to our convention, so every year I get a chance to talk and mingle with them. Well, what happened was down in the States, and this may have been a year or two ago, there was this young 13-year-old boy who loved My Little Pony, okay? Obsessed with My Little Pony. But he would get picked on relentlessly for his fandom because, you know, he liked what other kids considered to be uncool, right? And he would get the crap beat out of him all the time, to the point where this kid actually attempted suicide because, you know, again, it drove him nuts. Like, no one would leave him alone. And so that's what inspired the story for Nyobi #1 is Lucas is this huge Nyobi fan, but he gets constantly picked on because he likes Nyobi. Nyobi, in my world, is a J-pop singer / superstar, right? So she's famous, you know, and almost like a Dazzler from the X-Men, you know what I mean? Like, she sings, but at the same time she moonlights as a superhero, and she's well known for it. And so this kid is very much into her, and he gets picked on because of it. Now, the happy story, by the way, with the actual real story about this kid and the My Little Pony is after Brenda and Troy found out about this, they went on a Facebook crusade and put together this huge package, had all kinds of artists and creators and fans just send this kid a giant box full of My Little Pony merchandise and signed books and original art and you name it, man. It was incredible. Like,
that's so cool.
Almost tearing up here just thinking about it. But yeah, I mean, inspired a comic book. I'm like, yeah, that's a great story, and I want to tell it my way, you know. And so we set up Nyobi saving Lucas at the very end. And then at the end of the book, Niobe's kind of bleeding through the nose, and her manager's like, Nyobi, what's wrong? She's like, I don't know. Which picks up right in number 2 when she goes to the hospital to get checked out. And they basically find out that all her teleporting, because that's what she does, she's a teleporter, is playing havoc on her, cellular structure. And so every time she's jumping through time and space, her whole body is getting messed up every time she does it. And so her cells deform and reform, and it's playing havoc on her body. And her specialist, who specializes in genomes, which I call genetic anomalies, basically my word for mutant, says that every time you make a jump, this is causing havoc on your body. And if you continue to use your powers, it's just going to get worse for you. You're going to have seizures, you're going to have, more bloody noses, and eventually this is going to kill you. You know what I mean? At some point, your body's not going to be able to handle this anymore. So my advice to you is to stop using your powers as much as possible.
Yeah.
And so that's very hard. That'd be like saying, don't use your legs to go for a walk.
Right.
Or don't open your eyes because you might be hurt. When you're used to doing something your whole life and then all of a sudden you're told you can't do it anymore, that's a hard pill to swallow. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so she, throughout the series, she's going to have to face that reality that even though there are bad things happening, she's now going to have to pick and choose her battles. And when she decides to jump into something, in the fear that it's going to harm her. And so that's kind of like the underlying theme of the whole series. And then there will be lots of things jumbled in. In issue 2, she's in the hospital, she's getting checked out, but there's another genome in there as well, which is Avani, who's like this water manipulative power. It's kind of like Hydro Man, say, from Spider-Man, you know what I mean? But on top of that, she's got these deadly claws, and she can spit acid in your face that will burn your face right off. Well, she's getting operated on. They're trying to take these poisonous glands out of her neck so she can't do any harm to anyone else. And she ends up breaking out. And when she breaks out, she's killing doctors and nurses left, right, and center to try and escape this hospital. Nyobi finds out that this is all going on. Of course, she gets involved, in her and this evil bitch, basically, they go toe-to-toe. But Nyobi actually loses this fight. She's outclassed. Avani's a much better combatant than she is. Avani's been in the game a lot longer than Nyobi has. And in the end of the book, Avani eventually escapes. And so that's all the parts that you missed in issue 2.
I missed the good parts. That's what it was.
You missed all the good parts.
I tell you what. It's interesting that you're kind of making your character then almost, I would almost say, have a degenerative disease in some fashion, even though it's part of who she is. So it's
absolutely.
It's not something you see very often in comics. Is it's superpowers and they're supposed to last forever kind of thing, and you have a situation here where it's. So that's kind of a very different take on a story.
Well, actually, it's very common, actually, when you think about it, in the sense that every hero should have a vulnerability, right? Even Superman, who's a Greek god, untouchable, has a vulnerability. It's called kryptonite, right? So every character, every hero, in some shape or fashion, it may not be a physical vulnerability, maybe it's a mental vulnerability. Like Batman, Batman has a hard time still dealing with the death of his parents. That's a vulnerability that Batman has to carry around for forever. In Niobe's case, she is her own vulnerability. So, she's her own worst enemy in this sense that the more you use your powers, the more problems it's going to cause. But at the same time, she also wants to do the right thing. That comes down to the old, I'm quoting a lot of Marvel here, but it comes down to the old Spider-Man, reference, with great power comes great responsibility, sort of motif, right? You have these abilities, can you not use them? You know what I mean? How can you not use them for the better good, or in some cases for the betterment of evil, depending on which side of the the tracks that you happen to stand on. But yeah, it's been an interesting ride. Putting together issue 1 through Kickstarter was an experiment, because I don't know how familiar you guys are with Kickstarter, if you ever back projects on Kickstarter, but Kickstarter is, either you make your funding and you're good to go, or you don't. So let's say I do a Kickstarter and I have a goal of $2,000. Well, if I make $1,800 and that's it, well, you get nothing. You know what I mean? The goal,
right? It's an all or nothing. Yeah.
It's an all or nothing scenario. And so when I put together the first Kickstarter, I had no idea if anyone would be interested in this at all.
Right.
We did have a goal. I think it was something like $1,700. You know, and that's just barely enough to print like, you know, a couple hundred copies and enough to ship them out. We ended up doing 2,100, which was 2,100. You know, that's pretty cool. When we did Nyobi number 2 was 2,400, and when we did Nyobi number 3 it was 3,800.
Wow.
So
did you? So you set your goals the same for all 3 Kickstarters though, or did you?
Yeah. I think Nyobi number 2 had a goal of 1,750. I think like we went up like $50. You know what I mean? And I did the same thing for Nyobi number 3. We kept it like the $1,700-$1,800 range, and yeah, it shot up to $3,800. You know. Now keep in mind, in the world of Kickstarter, there's Kickstarter fees, right? So they take like $200 or $300 off. And then if you have anyone that, you know, has dropped your pledge, which does happen, you might lose a few bucks there. But yeah, overall, you know, I mean, we end up being able to put together the project with about $3,400.
That's fantastic. So I have to ask, because you the concept of how you got the origins for Nyobi, it piqued my interest in that you're in a game and you're playing a character that you played. So you're playing a female character.
Yeah.
In the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to bring that up first. Second, did her powers work exactly the same in the role play version of this, or did you a little bit for it, like the degenerative parts and stuff?
She's gone through a couple of different incarnations. I wish, man, I wish I had like all the original art I had for her that I drew right beside me, but I don't. I might be able to find a few things, yeah. I mean, and she changed in different systems too. Like she started in Heroes Unlimited, but what ended up happening was I made her in GURPS. I don't know if you know where a GURPS is. Generic role-playing system, but the best system at all, and this is like what I recommend to people that want to make superheroes, is use this hero system, the champion system, man.
I've seen that.
Okay.
Oh man, this is like the Bible. This is a thick 500-page tome, okay, of superhero goodness. And if you're stuck for an idea, or this book will teach you how to make powers. This book will tell you how to make vulnerabilities, advantages, disadvantages, quirks. You know, all the little things for your character that you may never think of. That stuff is in here. Then you take that stuff that you make for your character on a character sheet, and then just translate it into what it would look like on the pages of a comic book. You know what I mean? That's my secret.
Secret sauce right there.
And you know, as far as like her powers changing, yeah, they did change a little bit. She always had the power of teleportation, because I was a big fan of Magic from the X-Men. You know what I mean? So Magic would like have this ring of light, and she would teleport. I'm like, okay, I love this idea of portals. So she's going to be able to cast portals. At one point, Nyobi was able to teleport, and then she was able to deneutralize everyone else's power around them. So she would teleport somewhere, and then she'd be like, debunk everyone else, and they would get sick whenever they tried to use their power. And then the GM really didn't like this idea. He's like, oh, Larry, you're too powerful. You just show up somewhere and you make everyone sick, including your teammates. And I'm like, well, you know, it's what the points allow me to do. And I said, I don't have enough points to pick and choose who gets sick or not, right? And so we had to stop doing that. And then it turned out I made her still with the teleportation, but then we gave her an energy blast. Like she's able to take the light, because she uses light to transverse, right? She turns into molecules of light and basically travels that way. So I'm like, okay, she'll be able to take and condense light, and then she'll be able to do, if she concentrates hard enough, she'll be able to do some, you know, pretty potent energy blasts with it. So that's what the final version end up being. So she will be able to teleport and have a little bit of offense at the same time, as opposed to just debunking everyone's powers like she was leech from the X-Men or something, you know.
Right.
But she's gone through a couple of different looks and a couple of different of power sets. But the one thing that always kind of remained the same was she was always a J-pop star. She always kind of had like the long hair and pigtails, and she always, you know, always was able to teleport. And there was really no limits on her teleport. You know, she can go from the U.S. to Japan in a blink of an eye. But in the book, she's only starting to discover that she can do that, right? In the book, she's only gone short distances, but she's discovering that I can go further. It may take more out of me, but I can go further, you know? And it's usually places that she has to be familiar with, or at least have seen once or twice, before she can just blink and go there, you know?
Right, in the middle of a building or something.
Yeah, we have activity in your chat room, by the way. take a quick look at your chat room here and see what's going on. We have Chris Ventura in the house. He says that he loves Nick Bradshaw. Yeah, Nick Bradshaw is a fantastic artist. So if you guys don't know who he is, go look him up. He's got a very Arthur Adams sort of style to him, and he's a hell of a nice guy. If you see him in a convention, I mean, he'll talk your ear off. You know what I mean? And Chris, he's saying that's exactly what I was wondering when he saw number 2, referring to like 12 pages and nothing else. We also have Jean Paul Ace Peter. He's like Nyobi in capital letters here, and Chris is just saying, just here to support Nyobi and 2 nerds. Also doing some of my weekly reading. How about you? And Jean is just killing some time with the wife while these guys are checking out your broadcast, man. So we got a couple of peeps in the house. Jean's got here, # support Canadian comics. There you go.
Yes.
Jean Paul, he's from a province called Newfoundland. These guys are friends of mine, by the way. And I told them I was going to be here today. So that's why they're here in the chat. And not only are they here to check me out, but they're here to check you guys out as well. So Jean Paul Ace Peter's been in the game of YouTube for a very long time, 8 years plus, talking about comic books, his love for comic books. Same thing with Chris, man. They're what we call G1 or Generation 1 YouTubers in the comic book community.
Oh, wow. See, Ernie, that could be us one day. We could be Generation, what, 26ers?
I think we're up to Generation 8 or so. I think I'm calling maybe like Gen 6. You know what I mean? But
no, we're probably Gen 8. We're into the game a little late, so we're hoping for the best.
Hey, you guys do a really good job. I watched a few of your videos, and like I said,
oh, did you?
You never know that I might turn this interview around on you. But you guys do your some of your shows from your local comic shop, which I thought was pretty cool, man. The fact that your local comic shop will let you guys come in there and just shoot the breeze with them and talk comics, man. I wish I could just go to my local comic shop and broadcast and have like the owner sit with me and just like, yeah, let's talk comics, So that must be pretty cool for you guys,
Well, it's actually kind of funny because before we got this comic book part of us being able to broadcast from the comic shop just happened in the last month. Before that, we were just mostly doing audio podcasts, and we took a quick break, well, a long break over the Christmas holiday, and we were like, we need to come back. We need to come back big. We need to do something, change the format. Let's do some more video. And I was like, you know what? I know the local comic book guy. He goes to the same cons we do, and let's see if he's interested. And he was completely and totally down with it, and he was very excited about it, actually. Little advertising for him, and I know Ernie loves to say the name of the comic shop over and over again, but it's Docking Bay 94. And he's just been great about it so far. So we're going to keep doing it, keep talking comics. We're going to have every week or so when we do our podcast there, we're going to bring in some comics that he has that are his latest and greatest and talk about those and read some new stuff. And hopefully it gets to be kind of a mainstay and part of our base audience.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that you guys were able to do that. And one of the other videos that I was watching was you guys had a comic book creator like side by side with you, and I forget what his name was, but he was like the artist on a book called Volt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, James Why Not?
Yeah, that's right, James Why Not? Why not? Right?
Why not?
I know. It's sad because my fiance made fun of me for making fun of his name. It's like, what? But
that is a book I've heard of before, and it was very cool to see that happen. Now, I mean, being in Florida, you guys probably have that kind of luxury that there's probably a fair amount of creators that are down in that area that you guys can probably have access to, and yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, we're hoping if Ernie can join me, which has been the challenge, is his schedule sometimes prevents him. We do in April, I believe it is. We're doing a comic book convention that I'm going to be helping to run a booth at. And my hope would be, and I did ask, we can have our own booth, Ernie, as part of the setup if you're interested. So we can actually broadcast live from the convention and maybe pull in a comic book artist or two, because there are usually quite a few there.
Oh, absolutely. You'll find that most people, creator-wise, love to talk about what they're doing. I mean, who doesn't love self-promotion? You know what I mean? If you're looking at big names, that might be a harder sell. But if you're just going to like some of the upstart guys, you know what I mean, that may be working for like say third-party publishers, as opposed to maybe Marvel and DC, you'll find that a lot of them are open, for a talk, and even if they can't do it right away, you can just say, hey, look, mind if we, maybe give you a tweet or a Facebook message down the road and get you on the podcast sometime, and you'll find that 9 times out of 10 that most of them will be open to that idea.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I'm hoping to get a lot more people to come on and just sit and shoot the breeze on what they're doing with us. Now we have the comic book shop, a physical location where we can go and just sit with them and chill. And now that we, thanks to you and some trial and error, have a little bit more of a handle on the Hangout and the Facebook Live or YouTube Live and Facebook Live, we can continue to do that as well as an outlet.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Utilize your tools. Facebook Live is fantastic. I try to use it, but at the time I tried to use it, it wasn't available for Android in Canada. Now I think it is, and I'll be able to give it another go and see if it's good to go. But this was like several months ago. But Google Hangouts is fantastic in the sense if you want to have like a roundtable sort of conversation like this with 3 guys, it can host up to 10 guys, right? So maybe you start inviting 3 or 4 people on at once, and you guys just kind of have a conversation on comic books, like on Rebel Comics, which is my channel. On Monday nights, what we do is we'll put a link in the chat room, and whoever wants to come on, provided that they're civil and not a dick, can come on and talk comic books with us. Anyone and anyone, right? If they're if they happen to be disruptive, and then you just click the eject button and they get booted, no problem. You know what I mean? But it's a lot of fun to talk with people about comic books, and also I've had the opportunity to interview other independent comic book creators on my level. Not, no one too famous there, but I mean people that are upstarting. I had Colton and Casey that do Tits. I had Tyler Carpenter that does Demons. I had Chris Tomasa that does Clarity Girl. All these are great indie titles that all went through the realm of Kickstarter or some sort of other crowdfunding to get out there, So it's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, now, let me ask you guys. I forget which one was it, Rob. I don't know if it was Rob or Ernie, but when you said that your wife actually recognized Nyobi, this has got me curious.
That was actually my fiance actually did recognize Nyobi. She actually wasn't able to contribute, but she saw your Kickstarter. She's a very big fan of strong female lead character comic books, and she saw yours. And when I told her that I gotten the first issue, she practically squeed and was like, "Oh my god, that's so cool." She's loved has a collection of a couple different comics, mostly not necessarily Kickstarter, but smaller prints, smaller, lesser known characters. I can't remember the other one she has a huge fan of. It's a character who lives underwater, and almost all of her covers are naked. It's an Image comic, and I can't remember, something to do with water, the character's name. But like literally the front cover of one of the comics is literally this girl is literally covered by bubbles, and that's it. So she has a definite specific type of fandom that she's a fan of in the comic book world. But yeah, she was always is on Kickstarter looking at all the cool new stuff. She was on there for a couple of video games as well that were starting out. So she's a complete nerd, beyond level of what I am, sometimes much deeper into it than I could be in some respects.
Well, I mean, that's awesome, and we want more people like that to go to Kickstarter and look at what's coming up. The way that I look at it is, and I won't even include myself in this group, okay, but there are so many people that's on Kickstarter that I know is going to be the next generation of artists and writers for books to come, right? Yeah. This is how people get their start in the business. People want to know, how do you break into the comic book business? Well, you just don't instantly become a writer for Marvel or DC without no body of work to show. You know what I mean?
Right.
For an artist, artists have a lot more avenues than say a writer does. An artist can showcase their work on DeviantArt or Facebook or make web comics and stuff like that. For a writer, it's a lot harder gig to kind of break into. So for writing, my suggestion to writers is you can do as much fan fiction as you want, but fan fiction doesn't honestly get taken all that seriously. I would write your own books, write your own material, show that you can write, show that you can produce something. And if the right people see it, then who knows? You know what I mean? I mean, obviously you can't guarantee anything, you can't promise anything, but it's hard work. And you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast when we were first trying to get this going, that you have to be passionate about it, because as an indie creator, If you're lucky, you're breaking even. You know what I mean? If you're lucky, you're breaking even. Nyobi number 3 was the first time that we actually kind of broke even and maybe had a little extra cash. Nyobi 1 and 2, we were in the red. I was paying out of pocket for certain stuff at the end of it, but it was worth it to me to have, you know, to be able to hold this book. Here's the villain variant, by the way, for Nyobi number 2. This
No, that's really cool.
The villain Avani. And so, yeah, I mean, to have this in my hand and say, you know what, whether I got signed by a company or didn't, sold 5,000 copies or 300, you know, which is about what we did. I can say that I made a dream come true. You know, no one can take this away from me. That I got, you know, when I made number 1, I said to myself, if that's as far as I get, I'm fucking happy, man. I made a comic book, you know. Like,
yeah, you can't complain about that.
You know, I didn't start something. Yeah, I didn't start something and not finish it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so to do it 3 times, you know, and now we'll be doing it a 4th in May, is ecstatic to me, man. It's ecstatic, you know. And like I said, if we never got any further, if it all ended today, I'd be just fine with it. I'd be like, man, you know what? I have this in my hand. My name is on here. This is all me and the guys that worked on it, R.B. White and Steve Boyu, man, and Nicole Dornan, who like corrects my bad grammar. You know, I gotta give props to Nicole. But here, I'll show you just a couple of pages you might have missed in the book. There's Nyobi and Avani, you know, going tooth and nail, fighting.
Yes, you didn't see that.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see that, dude.
You will, because when this broadcast is done, I'm gonna be emailing you this stuff. There's Avani crashing through the hospital window and landing outside the hospital. You know what I mean, on her big escape. You know.
I love the lines on that panel with her leap down or jump on top of the car there.
This is one of the best pages in the book, man. You're absolutely right. That's one of the best pages in the book, dude. You have a good eye. And I don't want to spoil too much, but you know, there's Nyobi going after her, and they're having like this big debate amongst each other about the morals of what's going on. Because Avani tells Nyobi, she says to her, "Look, the people you're working for, you can't trust, because I was working for them, and then they tried to throw me underneath the bus." You know what I mean? And now Nyobi doesn't know what to believe anymore, right? Because she thought she was, you know, because she was working for the United Nations as a representative of the UN. Well, the UN, according to Avani, tried to have her fucking put out of commission. And Avani's backstory is she used to be an assassin, and she claims to have worked for them. So lots of political intrigue and can you trust the government sort of stuff. And, you know, Avani's basically saying you have a shelf life, and when your shelf life expires, they're going to get rid of you.
No, it's a scary thing, but a lot of the comics you see these days, you know, try to tie in at least a little bit to that political mindset of, you know, you're a tool to be used rather than an actual person because of what you can do or how you are as a person or whatever it is. And it's a scary thought, and people don't want that kind of concept, so it makes it creepier.
Well, sure.
And it makes it almost real, you know.
And you know, I mean, it may be a stereotypical motif, but you want to think about.
I love that, by the way. Before you put it away, take that one back out. The back picture there.
Oh, the back picture.
Yes.
This is a very cute chibi picture that we did for the back, and
yes, I love that one. I forgot where I saw that in the first issue or where I saw that, but I was like, that is freaking adorable. I'm a huge fan of that style of art.
This was done by Aiden James Power, who's like a 16-year-old girl who lives here in Riverview, New Brunswick. And I did a little thing. I'm like, I'm hiring a few artists to draw me some pictures for the back cover. Let's see what you got. And so Aiden messaged me. She's like, well, what were you looking for? I said, well, you know, I said, the cover is pretty intense. I said, I'm looking for something kind of cutesy for the back, you know? And so she came up with this, and I'm like, bing, 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 we got a winner, you know? And that is freaking adorable. And that was like $50. And I use this image all the time for stuff. You know what I mean? Because it is adorable, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. So let me ask you. Speaking of cute pictures, I saw your takeover little mini thing of us with the you know, the Powerpuff Girls guy. Did you have to get special permission, or are you just okay? You know, he's just like, yeah, use it, whatever.
No. There is a Nyobi Powerpuff Girls image, by the way.
Okay, that's why I was wondering. I was hoping.
There is. It's in my. Actually, I can show it to you here in a second. But what it is those images that you saw with the Nyobi takeover, that's just me screwing around. Like, yeah, we're coming on the show. We're taking over. Boom. I hope you guys will
I'm
find it in
curious.
good humor. You know.
Oh no, absolutely. I just thought it was really cute. I was like, oh, that's cute too. The heck.
So there's a website that you can go to. That's the official Powerpuff Girls website, where you can design your own characters as Powerpuff in the image of Powerpuffs, right? So
I didn't know
like
that.
I did me, you know, with the leather jacket and the brown hair, and then I did one of Nyobi. Now with Nyobi though, I had to tweak it a little bit because there was no face paint or stuff, right? So I just kind of took that image, put it in like, you know, Paint, you know, Microsoft Paint, and then I put on the face paint and stuff on her, right?
Nice.
So I just tweaked it up a little bit, but that's where they come from. Troy
Really
didn't
cool.
actually draw those, but
I had to ask. You said I know the Powerpuff Girls guy, and I have the Powerpuff. I was like, well, let's see if he.
I do have this, like, and I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, but this is a lot of like original artwork that I've collected over the years that people have done for Nyobi. And
I love the one on the left there, the black and white.
Yeah, well, that is done by the guy who did the cover for issue #1, Andre Boulard. And this was like some of the, you know, potential covers that we could have had. You know what I mean? He also drew this first image here, which kind of was the cover, but we changed it up a bit. So you kind of see
that's really cool. Yeah.
vortex of like light and all these rocks and stuff kind of flying around her. Here's another one that he did.
Wow, those are really cool.
And so, yeah, I've just kind of collected these things over the years. This here image was in issue #1 as one of the pinups done by Craig Nickel.
No, that's some nice pencil work there too.
And so there's a lot of great talent where I live. You know, a lot of like talent that no one even knows of. These pictures here were done by C.K. Russell, who's a great artist from Halifax, Nova Scotia. And so every year she does stuff for me, and she does like the prints for Nyobi that we had in our Kickstarter. Here's kind of Nyobi with her Canadian sort of look with the red and white.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. And well, she took that from a picture that I drew, and she just made it better. You know what I mean? Like
I know why you like that one too, Ernie.
Oh God.
I can draw well enough, but you know, these people, they just take what I do and they just make it so much better. You know. There's a couple of other ones. This one here we have.
That one on the right, that one I've seen, yeah.
And
you put that in one of the comics.
And so, you know, I love collecting art. This here was done by Franco, what's his name? Franco Francobilia, who's done work on like Archie, Black Beetle. Like he done like Afterlife with Archie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so
we were just talking about that too, Ernie.
So he did this picture here. He said, can I make it a little bit more darker look? I said, yeah, man, do whatever you want. I said, it's your interpretation. And after he did it, I met him at a convention in Halifax. He said, can you email me a scan of that? I said, absolutely, brother, no problem. You know, this is awesome. More like a cute Teen Titans sort of version of Nyobi.
Ah, yes.
Another cute shot there for Ernie.
That was done by an artist from Germany. I can't pronounce her name, but she was phenomenal, you know. I'm just trying to get
the collection.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to get to the Powerpuff Girl one. Here it is. So this was done by Troy Little. Nyobi.
That's absolutely adorable.
And I can show you a couple others. This one here was what we use when everyone wants a reference for Nyobi. We give them this. And so we'll like take this image and then just play with it and do what you want. This was done by a girl named Danica Bryan, who's actually Nick Bradshaw's girlfriend.
Oh, wow.
So she's a fantastic French artist. She's done her own book called Survivorland and a few other different comics, man. So pretty cool, man. And
very cool stuff. You have a lot of art friends, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. It was done by Becky Cloonan, just a 5-minute drawing that Becky did. Becky's done work on Batman and Punisher and stuff like that. So, you know, she's like, I'm like, can you draw a picture? She's like, it'll be very quick. I said, yeah, no problem. So for $5, she drew that up, and you know, so keep putting artwork there.
It's nothing like, again, I think I see the passion too here is you literally have drawing after drawing of a character that came from your mind, that's yours, that people are making for you, and that's
from when I was 16, man. This here is one of my own pieces of art right here, of Nyobi.
That's one that you did?
Yeah, that's one I did. And I was playing around with Copic markers, you know, just trying to play around colors and stuff like that. That was one of my original pieces of Nyobi. And these are other ones I did just playing around. Like this here's like a chibi version of Nyobi that I drew.
Yeah, see, you're not that bad.
Not that bad, but I'm not that great. Like I said, I could draw well enough to kind of get the idea across and then let other people run with it. This one here is when I had big dreams of Nyobi being an X-Men that I drew, you know? Right?
Nice.
Oh, the X-Men cover. And then this one here was another one that I did. You know, I have problems with like hands and feet and stuff, but you know, for the most part, I can get across what I want across. And like I said, other people will just take this stuff and they'll run with it, man.
That's really cool. So obviously you said you have issue 4 coming up next.
Yeah.
That's your next focus point, and you said that's in a couple months?
Yeah, we're going to do the Kickstarter in May. In April, the end of April, I'm going to the largest convention in Canada called the Calgary Fan Expo. And so I have a table there. And
oh, nice.
I plan to launch the Kickstarter while I'm in Calgary. So when people come and say, like, they buy Nyobi number 3, for instance, I'll give them a little card that says, hey, you know, if you enjoy this or enjoy the others, please support us on Kickstarter. It's live right now. You know what I mean? So I could be at a convention with 100,000 people potentially coming through the door, and anyone that picks up Nyobi will, you know, basically get a pitch for Kickstarter. And if they like what they see, hopefully they'll back us, and maybe we'll do better than 3,800. Who knows, you know? And then we got
that's all it takes.
and here's the variant cover for Nyobi number 3. This is like the bag girl kind of variant.
Nice.
And then we,
that one's for you there, Ernie.
And then we have blanks as well. Like we have like the Nyobi blanks, so that people can buy these and get drawings done on them and stuff.
Right.
We'll be doing very well. People actually really seem to like these, and the paper that we use is the same quality thickness that Marvel does for their blanks. So it's you know, they're not cheap to make, but they're really cool.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people are getting into that now with the blank covers. I see them literally everywhere.
Well, dude, I have lots of like original art, not just of Nyobi, but of other things as well. I could just show you a few cool things that I've gotten over the past few years. For instance, this is Black Cat by Nick Bradshaw.
Oh, wow.
This here is unknown artist, but Harley Quinn, you know what I mean, on a Harley here.
No, there you go, Ernie. That's for you. Ernie's a massive, huge Harley Quinn fan.
Some Mary Jane on Amazing Spider-Man.
Very cool. And this is local. These are locals?
Some of these are locals. Some, like, those are locals. This here is Danica Brine. She's what I consider semi-local. Like, she's done published work before, but not a lot of people know who she is. But that's Emma Frost from X-Men. This here was done by Dan Perron, who does Die Kitty Die, and he does a lot of work on Archie. Met him in Calgary. So this is like Veronica cosplaying as the Black Widow.
I was going to say that's a spitting image there. That's really well done.
And this here is another Dan Perron. This is just like a headshot of Harley Quinn.
No, there you go, Ernie.
Now, you guys heard me talk about My Little Pony and Brenda Hickey. Well, Brenda did me a Nyobi pony version on a My Little Pony comic. Is that not a,
see, that's
a fucking riot, man?
So that's when you made it big time. That's when you made it big time.
Right? And
see, Ernie's pretty close to being a brony himself. So
well, check this out then, Ernie. This is another Nyobi that she did, pony style. Now,
Yes.
I'm no.
yeah, he won't ever admit it. He won't admit
Here's
it.
the thing.
You know.
Here's the thing. Guys see this and they think I'm a brony. I'm not a brony. I just happen to know the artist, and this is what she does. So, you know, I have her do her thing with my character, and I think it's fucking hilarious as hell.
That's great.
This here
That's
is
really cool. I love that one.
Legendary artist Ty Templeton, man. He's done Batman 66. He's do Justice League International and Justice League Europe. So this is Supergirl that he doodled up for me. This here is Spider-Gwen, done by Troy Little.
Oh, I want that. I'm a huge Spider-Gwen fan.
Isn't that not awesome, man?
That's very cool.
Yeah.
This here is Batman, Superman cover. Bizarro basically fighting Batman, or Clayface, I guess it is. But fantastic artwork. That's done by Nick Bradshaw. This here is Savage Wolverine cover, done by Nyobi cover artist R.B. White. Like I said, he's done work for Grim Fairy Tales and stuff like that. Fully colored, you know, Shanna, the She-Devil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's another Harley Quinn by a local artist. So, man, if you want to talk comic books and original art with me, I am all about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, Yeah, that's my thing, man. I love collecting art. I love, like, I have a whole box, a whole short box just full of blanks that I want art done on.
That's fantastic.
You know, if a comic book comes out with a blank, I buy the blank for sure, because I know someday a piece of art, a drawing is going to go on that sucker, you know. I'll show you 2 more pieces here that you guys might find pretty cool. These are my cream of the crops, if you will. The first one here is Catwoman by Nick Bradshaw. I got these in top loaders. I mean, that's just a beautiful, detailed drawing. You know what I mean?
That's nice.
Wow, that is really pretty.
And this one here is Nyobi, done by Jamie Tyndall. I don't know if you're aware of who Jamie Tyndall is, but he's fucking fantastic. And he's done, of course, a lot of covers for these various other companies. And so when I contacted him, I was supposed to send him a Nyobi blank, but I didn't get it to him in time. So he drew Nyobi on a Harley Quinn cover.
That's great.
That's cool.
And I got like others that are up on my wall that I can show you, but I would have to like take them down. But yeah, man, I got a ton of this stuff. I am a comic book fan. Not only do I make books, man, but I'm a fan. You know, I grew up reading Amazing Spider-Man and X-Men and New Mutants. You know, I was always a big Marvel guy. For Batman, you know, like Batman's where I kind of went in my DC realm. Bat Universe, you know, Catwoman, Batwoman, Harley Quinn, that sort of stuff. A little bit of Supergirl here and there. I got like all the new 52 Supergirls, and I got, you know, a lot of Michael Turner Supergirl covers and stuff like that. Yeah, I've been collecting comic books probably since I was anywhere from 10 to 12. You know what I mean? Maybe back in like, you know, 1986.
See, and one thing it sounds like is you're a fan of both Marvel and DC because you keep referencing back and forth. So see, Ernie is you know, on one side, and he views me as being on the other side, but I actually like them both. But he is a strict Batman, Superman guy, and I kind of like a few different things on both sides of the fence.
That is not true. It's just that right now I'm on that little phase right now. In fact, I'll show you because this will tell you.
He's just obsessed with Harley. That's all it is.
Oh, I can't wait to see what he's going to show me, man.
No, it's going to be very cool. I can guarantee you that.
In the chat room there, we still have a couple people talking.
I have yet to see anyone come up from Marvel with a cover is cooler than this.
What do we got here now?
You got Darkseid.
Ah, Darkseid. There you go. Okay.
I mean,
okay. On the picture of you with Harley, but yeah, okay, that's kind of nice too.
Well, yeah, that's in the shrine right over there. That's in the place of honor, so to speak. No, I started off. My first comic books actually were Marvel comic books. I just felt that, you know, when you saw them on TV, those were the ones you saw on TV. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Oh yeah.
The Hulk. You know, those were on TV. So, you know, to me, they were kind of like the goody-goody. They fought crime during the daylight. You know, they always ended in a joke and a smile. Then Batman comes along, the animated series, and throws the whole world upside down. And I mean, that was probably, to me, that was the turning point of me saying, you know what, this is way too cool. I don't care what people say, you know. These are really good stories, regardless of the fact that it's, you know, comic books.
Well, absolutely. You know, comic book is just a medium. I mean, you know, there used to be the back in the day when you collected comic books were just for kids, you know. I'm pretty sure that society has realized now that we have far outgrown that kind of stereotype as far as comic books go. I mean, if you look at something like Batman: The Killing Joke, that is certainly not for children. You know?
No.
If you look at Watchmen, that is certainly not for children. You know, if you look at the things that DC and Vertigo were putting out or still putting out, not for kids. You know what I mean? Preacher, definitely not for kids. You know.
Right.
So I you know, we've finally outgrown that stereotype that, you know, oh, they're just funny books, they're just, you know, they're kid books, right? And, you know, we use the term now graphic novel a lot of times, and people will say graphic novel, you know, in a sense, not just like the hardcover graphic novel, but the graphic novel is a sense of like, it's an illustrated story that's not for kids. It's a graphic novel, you know. And I absolutely love that. And, you know, you have to give credit to things like the Marvel movies and shows like The Big Bang Theory, for bringing in a lot of people that never really understood comic books before, but maybe have a broader understanding of it now because they hear a lot about it in other mediums. And it's nice to see that comic books are getting a little bit of spotlight, even if it is 20 minutes on The Big Bang Theory and Sheldon's asking who's faster, Superman or Flash. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I mean, it's good stuff. And if conventions are just getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. When you used to go to a convention 20, 25 years ago, it'd be held in some like dingy little hotel with a couple of rooms, and you had your hardcore nerds dressed up. Now you go to a convention, it's 10,000, 20,000, in Calgary's case, 100,000 people. Families are going, parents are bringing their kids. More and more females are gravitating towards comic books, and they love dressing up as the Harley Quinns and the Poison Ivies and the Catwomans and the Supergirls and the Wonder Womans. People really embrace this sort of geek culture, and it's for the better. When I was a kid in like junior high, I used to get my ass kicked for wearing a Batman shirt. You know what I mean? Now it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
But guys like us, who got picked on for liking this stuff, we helped pave the way to make this stuff cool. We took the ass kickings so they didn't have to. You know what I mean?
We're pioneers. There you go. There you go, Ernie. We're pioneers. You see that?
No, I truly believe that. I mean, like I said, I can't tell you how many times I got made fun of when I was a kid for liking comic books, and now these kids are going to school wearing wigs and their anime costumes. You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy. It's blown up. You'll have some purists go, well, I don't want these people in my little niche group. I'm sorry, but you can't control that anymore. You know what I mean? It's gone far beyond that now. And so you may have some elitists that are still holding on to their little tight corner that they don't want anyone else to enter, no one to break into their bubble. But like I said, with things like The Big Bang Theory and all the movies that are coming out and all the TV shows like Supergirl, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow, and then if you go over to the Netflix side, you got Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, da 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 da. It's everywhere now. It's part of our culture. It's accepted.
And that's the coolest part of it, is that it is almost completely accepted. And they're pushing boundaries on all of it as far as how it can be and by what groups and their audiences. I mean, there's still a little disparity, I think, in the female fans of these things, where they're not really focused as much on them. A couple of shows have been canceled in the recent past because their audience was primarily a female audience, and they just canceled the show. Well, we're not getting the men, so we don't care. It's like, dude, no. That's still the last combat zone, I guess you would say, of accepting that those are real people that can be really a part of the conversation and part of the audience for any comic book. And that's kind of where the last niche of people we need to really focus on and get them fully onboarded, just like we did for the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And I for one, welcome it, I mean, we got a lot of great coming up. We got Star Wars Episode 8 on the horizon. We got Thor Ragnarok coming out. We got the new Guardians of the Galaxy coming out. We got Wonder Woman coming out. We got Justice League coming out. There's no shortage for movies or television shows. I mean, if you guys seen the trailer for Power Fist, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's gonna be great too.
Or even Logan coming out.
How in the hell could I forget Logan? Already raved as one of the best comic book movies ever. Already raved as better than being Deadpool, and it hasn't even hit the theaters yet. This is just coming from people like Collider Video and stuff like that. But you know what? I trust those guys. When they say it's going to be a good movie, it usually is. And so what they're saying is that this is the Wolverine movie that people have been waiting for. It's R-rated. It's in your face. They're not holding back.
Logan getting stabby.
Yeah, and they've already seen the movie, and the way that they describe it is, you remember when that first trailer came out with the Johnny Cash remake of the 90s song Hurt? Mm-hmm. And that feeling when you watch that trailer? They're saying the whole movie feels like that. And that, to me, sounds awesome.
Wow.
It's that whole turning point when Suicide Squad trailer used Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right.
Guardians of the Galaxy using Hooked on a Feeling,
Right. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I thought Suicide Squad was a great movie for what it was, And I thought there was a lot of breakout stars. I thought Will Smith, and initially I was like, I don't want to see Will Smith play fucking Deadshot. I don't want to fucking see that, until I saw it, and I'm like, you know what? Fucking guy did a good job, Harley Quinn, I mean, stole the show, right? But the guy that played, God, who was the fire guy there again? Diablo. That guy, so underrated, man. That guy really rocked it too. You know what I mean? Like, Boomerang was funny as hell. Amanda Waller, Viola Davis, destroyed it, man. She owned it. You know what I mean?
Best villain I've seen in a while.
You know, it was a great movie, man. Colonel Flag was cool. I liked it all, man. You know, I worry about the DC movie franchise because of all the different things that I keep hearing and rumors. Like Ben Affleck doesn't want to play Batman anymore. He doesn't want to direct anymore. Wonder Woman's looking like shit. This and that. But you know what? Until the movies actually come out, I'm hoping they'll be good. You know.
Yeah, that was the latest rumor I heard. Somebody actually saw a finish, like the first run of Wonder Woman, and they left, and they basically said it was awful.
Right, and that worries me because the trailers look so good. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if
and that's my concern too. Yeah.
I want to see the movie that they're delivering in the trailer, and if they can give me that movie, then that could be one of the best DC movies of all time. You know.
I want to have them give me the movies that they give me on the animated side. If they can give me those movies in live action,
they own animated. You know,
done.
Marvel, you know, severely lacks in the animated department, where DC just grabs it by the balls and says, "You're mine." You know.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
In the chat,
absolutely.
Here,
yeah, it's totally changes.
In the chat here, we got Chris Ventura says that for his channel, he says that they got interviews like crazy when they went to New York Comic Con in the Artist Alley. He says that so many really nice people we met. Definitely, you should go do that and get them on your show. So
there you go, Ernie.
Hey, I love going to New York, man. That's like the other place I go to. So I'll head there, man.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. New York,
thank you, Ernie.
I mean, you know, if you just go to your conventions, whatever ones you can reach, just start networking with people, start talking with people. You'd be surprised, you know, how many people would love to jump on the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Chris is also saying he loves the Powerpuff Girl Nyobi image. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And he says that Cindy, which I'm assuming is his wife or girlfriend, is a huge fan of My Little Pony artist. They said that we met her too. Really nice woman, unless it was the writer. Either way, really nice. Yeah, no, I mean, I've never, and you guys, you can tell me if this is any different, but I've never met anyone in the comic book industry that's been an outright dick to me or a bitch. You know what I mean? So far, everyone that I've encountered, whether it be like through Facebook or conventions or just kind of meeting at a shop or wherever the case may be, everyone's been really cool, really cordial, and really polite to me. Have you guys, you know, encountered anyone that you just like, ugh? Because, you know, I find them very hard pressed to find, you know?
No. I think everyone that I've been in contact with and met through these channels, they've all been pretty open, like yourself. They want to talk about like the genesis of how they got there, you know, and it's like you see the enthusiasm there that they want to share it. You don't find that in a lot of the other industries. Like you don't find that in sports. You don't find that, you know, in entertainment so much. It just seems like this genre just lends itself to being, you know, pretty down to earth people.
Very passionate. And again, going back to the theme of this episode, as we close out the month of love, by the way, Ernie.
The month of love is done. And no love.
It is.
I feel the love, though. I do feel the love, you know.
You do feel some love? Okay.
I feel the love, boys. Man, I hope he feels the love, too. Here's a quick look at some of the images from issue 3 that you'll see coming up.
Sweet.
And so I know you don't see her there. You just see some predator-looking commando dudes, but trust me, some action is going to happen. Like, this is the swimsuit issue, and so when I said I'm putting out a swimsuit issue, of course, what everyone thinks is it's just going to be a book full of pinups. It's actually not the case. There's a 20-page story in here with 10 pinups of swimsuits, right? And so what it is that she's doing a photo shoot, and when the photo shoot begins, that's when we get into the pinups. And everyone told me that was an ingenious idea. They'd never seen use of pinups like that before. And I'm like, oh, it just seemed natural to me that we would just put the pinups as the photo shoot, you know? And then when the photo shoot ends, right, then we get, you know, back into the story again. So, you know, that's what it.
Very cool.
And so Nyobi goes toe-to-toe with this big fucking thing right here.
Dang.
Nice.
And,
there you go.
You know, this is quite the battle for our little teleporter. She's got to, like, basically outrun him, outdodge him, and try and find a way to get this guy beat. And what ends up happening is, and spoiler alert, but you'll read it anyway, she ends up teleporting him right into the water, wrapping a chain around his neck and choking him out until he can't fucking breathe.
There you go. That's one way to take a guy out.
Metal.
Right? So, and there's more to the story than that, but I won't spoil the rest of it for you. We introduced a new villain at the last page of the book that actually correlates to the shadow demon that you see in issue 1. So we're starting to tie some of it together now. And yeah, I can't wait for you guys to see it and you know, hear what you guys think of it when you finally do get reading issue 2 and 3.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look forward to that.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. It's been really cool having you on. You've shown us a lot of amazing things, and and a lot of fans of yours are coming on here and seeing hopefully a different side of you than they normally do, a little more insight into what started your passion here. And I think already we officially have a friend of the podcast. What do you say?
Hey, friend of the podcast, right?
Man, I would love
Yeah.
to come back and just just shoot the breeze about comic books. It doesn't even have to be about Nyobi. I just like to come back and talk comics with you guys.
Oh no, this was
That would-
definitely for you, man. We did this for you this time.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm talking next time, guys. And also, I just want you guys to know that you have an open door invitation over on my channel on Monday nights when we do Rebel Comics. If you're doing nothing and you just want to hop on with the panel and shoot the breeze, man, promote your show, you're more than welcome to go ahead and do that as well, guys. So just saying that as well.
Awesome. Well, this is a fantastic thing, Ernie. We'll have to do that.
And if I may, if someone is watching, they are interested in Nyobi and they're wondering how to get it, it's nyobi.storenvy.com is our shop.
Awesome. Awesome. Send me that link and I'll put it on the YouTube channel as well for this.
Yeah, absolutely. And then and if they can't do that, then there's always Kickstarter that comes out in May. So.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, I want to thank you personally myself for coming on, despite our initial technical difficulties.
Hey man, it's an honor. I'm glad I was able to help you out. And next time that you do one of these, man, you'll be able to bang it right out of the park. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Hey, yeah. Next time you're on, you got to tell us what you thought about Logan and the rest of the movies coming out.
Dude, I can't wait to have that discussion, man. I mean, I plan to go on opening night if I can. One of the things about
as are we.
is I just went through actually some major stomach surgery, so I'm just actually on the verge of recovering. And I can't wait to get these staples out of me and these things out of my chest and just live a normal life again. That's why I've had a lot of time on my hands. But that should all be done by by March, and so I sometime in March, and I can't wait to just like spring back into action and go back to work and hit the con scene again and just do what I do.
That sounds, I can understand that. Well, I want to thank you again very much for your time today. I mean, this has been a lot of fun for me. I know, Ernie, you were just, big toothy grin there the whole time, so you're enjoying yourself.
Oh, yeah, I'm getting
I
ideas.
can definitely see that.
I'm a fellow storyteller myself, so.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You do some writing, you have a book, or tell us a little bit.
It's one in the work. I've been like going back and forth on it. I just, it's never seen the light of day. It's one of those things.
Well, here's the thing. Don't stop. All right. I know a lot of people that will write the script and they don't go any further with it, or they'll think that it's not good enough. My advice, brother, is if I can do it, obviously you can do it, man. And so just, you ever see that Charlotte LaBeouf fucking video? Just do it. Okay, just do it.
Yeah, right.
There's actually a lot of truth in that, man. Just do it, man. Just do it.
Yeah. I keep telling him because I keep telling him to do it because I've been plugging away at a little book myself for a while, and it's like it's a struggle sometimes, but you got to keep with it, and you got to get it done and put it out there.
Get the script done. That's the first part. Get your script done, then worry about finding an artist, man. The artist is going to be the most expensive part of the book because these guys don't work for free, okay? But there are ways to earn money for your book. It's called Indiegogo. It's called Kickstarter. There are avenues you can help pay for the funding. And yeah, you're probably going to pay a little bit out of your pocket too. But if it's worth it to you, man, the rewards of once you have that book in your hand, when you go to the printer or you have the printer send you your first box of comics, man, and you open it up and you get to hold your baby in your hand, no fucking feeling like it on earth. No feeling on it like earth, man. It's so rewarding, man, that you'll be like, you know what? How come I didn't do this sooner?
And Ernie, since it ends on you, I will have you do the honors as always to close us out.
Yes. Everyone, thanks again. Peace out.
Peace out, man.
Peace out, everybody.
All right.